That was the year I had the most free time. I spent the entire year playing chess with an old man in the park. We became close, like an unlikely grandfather-granddaughter pair. He complained that his grandson had sworn off love after his first girlfriend dumped him, dashing the old man's hopes for a great-grandchild. I complained that my family's business was failing and they were forcing me to marry a middle-aged, balding man for resources. I was absolutely miserable. The old man thumped his chest. That's easy. Just marry my grandson. The day I knew the old man for exactly 1 year, I went home with him. Not to meet the parents. To meet the family heir. The old man sat on the back of my scooter. I followed his directions. A rich neighborhood, a mountainside location, a grand estate-style mansion. Finally, we stopped in front of a huge, carved iron gate. Me, your place? The old man hopped off the back, standing tall, my place. I was about to speak when a man who looked like a butler walked out. Sir, Miss Green. I had a sudden flashback to the first time I met the old man. Even then, I thought he looked like a business magnate. But then I thought, why would a man like that be playing chess in a small park? So I never asked. The old man just told me to call him Grandpa Chuck. I cautiously started, you. Are you Mr. Hamilton? Old man, I was a mess. Why did you tell me to call you Grandpa Chuck? He stroked his beard and sighed. When you get old, you get nostalgic. I told them to help me reminisce, but no one around here dared to call me Chuck. Glad I met you, though. I took a deep breath. He waved a hand. Hurry up and go in. My grandson will be here soon. I managed a smile. You first. He glanced at me, then climbed back onto the scooter. Go in for what? It's a long walk from the gate. My old bones can't handle too much walking. Grandpa Chuck, hurry up and stop saying, you or sir, it gets on my nerves. Grandpa Chuck's grandson arrived quickly. I crouched in the corner, watching him walk in. Tall, long legs, a sharp nose, thin lips, and an outstanding presence. I'd seen him before. He was an upperclassman from college, 2 years ahead of me. Scott Hamilton had already started working at the family company while he was still in school. He was very busy. I'd only seen him from afar a few times on campus. This close, though, was a first. I have to admit, he lived up to his reputation as the guy always being talked about on the campus forum and crush wall. Grandpa Chuck told him to sit down, then dropped a bombshell. Scott, I found you a wife. He rubbed his temples. Grandpa, I told you I don't want to date right now. Grandpa Chuck, yes, you do. Scott Hamilton, no, I don't. Grandpa Chuck, come on, repeat after me, I want. Scott Hamilton, don't treat me like your pet parrot. Grandpa Chuck, I'm going to throw a fit, cry, and threaten to starve myself, you know. Scott Hamilton, smiles. The girl has a great personality and is incredibly pretty. Scott Hamilton said nothing. Grandpa Chuck beckoned to me in the corner. Lily, come here. Clutching the hem of my shirt, I nervously walked out. Scott turned to look at me. His eyes landed on me. The fake smile on his face vanished. Grandpa Chuck, pretty, right? I nervously said, if you don't want to, I can. Scott suddenly cut me off. Yes, very pretty. Grandpa Chuck was delighted. Perfect. You two get your marriage license today, and tomorrow we'll use that red book to slap your family in the face. Let's see who dares to marry off my granddaughter-in-law to a middle-aged balding man. How's that for a plan? Scott Hamilton, it's not bad. Me, huh? What happened to the whole sworn-off love thing? Soon after we met, Scott and I were on our way to the city hall. I sat stiffly in the passenger seat. Scott glanced at me. You don't have to be so tense. Sitting like that for too long will make your back hurt. I gave a strained laugh. But my body honestly relaxed. While Scott wasn't looking, I secretly rubbed my lower back. When I looked at Scott, I saw his lips curved slightly, looking like he was in a great mood. At a red light, the car stopped, and Scott suddenly turned his head. He raised an eyebrow, staring at me. Busted, but I chose to be stubborn. I wasn't. If you weren't, how could we be making eye contact? I noticed you looking at me, so I looked at you. So, still not staring. Scott Hamilton, you turned your head without your hair moving at all? I stayed stubborn. Actually, I have a super fast head turn. My hair is still before your line of sight even lands. Scott Hamilton, an amazing skill. I gave 2 more strained laughs. Scott pulled out a bottle of water. Have some water. Your smile looks a little dry. Me, ha, ha, ha. The car started again. I thought for a moment and hesitated. You don't actually have to listen to Grandpa Chuck and get the license. With you stepping in, my family wouldn't dare sell me off. Scott pursed his lips. It's okay. I want to listen. Grandpa wants to see you use a marriage certificate to slap your horrible family's faces. He's old, let's humor him. He paused, then added, someone will be filming it. If we don't get married, we can't film it, and if Grandpa doesn't see it, he'll throw a fit, cry, and threaten to starve himself. I thought about it. We could get a fake one to appease him. Scott frowned. Fake documents are illegal. I was a straight-A student as a kid, an excellent graduate as an adult, and now I want to be an outstanding young entrepreneur. Besides, if it ever got out, Hamilton Corp stock would drop. I quickly calculated how much money Hamilton Corp would lose if the stock dropped. I definitely couldn't afford to pay that back. I muttered, earlier you said you didn't want to be treated like a pet parrot, and now you want to listen. Scott Hamilton, what did you say? Nothing. He was silent for a while, then said, but if you're unwilling, I won't force you. I whispered, I'm not unwilling. A chance to climb onto this gravy train was right here. Only a fool would be unwilling. His lips curved up again. I asked again, willing? Willing. Want to? Want to. No regrets? No regrets. I suddenly blurted out, you sound a bit like a parrot. Scott Hamilton froze, then, ha. I handed him a bottle of water. Have a drink. Your laugh sounded a little dry. Thanks to a recent policy change, you only needed an ID, not a household registration book, to get married. It wasn't long before we had the marriage certificate. Scott asked me, when are we going to your place? I thought about it and replied, when they call me to come back, I guess. He nodded, then asked, what are you planning to do next? Go home, I replied. Which home? I hesitated, the one I rent for $1,200 on the east side of the city? Before Scott could speak, I suddenly got a call. Grandpa Chuck's voice came through, granddaughter-in-law, Scott sent me a picture of the certificate. Now that business is taken care of, hurry back home. I had someone prepare a feast, all the things you mentioned wanting to eat. Scott Hamilton, still going back to that home? I wanted to refuse, but my stomach rumbled. No. I guess not. He frowned slightly but didn't say anything. I suggested adding each other as contacts. Scott took out his phone, and soon a friend request came through. I was surprised. How do you have my WhatsApp? Scott Hamilton, guess. I can't. He tilted his head to look at me, his gaze strangely laced with a hint of resentment. Does my profile picture look unfamiliar? Me, no. He pulled at the corner of his mouth, then walked away. His footsteps were heavy. Thump, thump, thump. The dinner was indeed sumptuous. Grandpa kept urging me to eat more. Scott poured me water. Slow down, don't choke. The way the two of them acted. It really felt a bit like home. Grandpa smiled, if you like it, eat more. From now on, you can order whatever you want, and I'll have someone make it for you. I swallowed a bite of lobster. Can I really order anything? Scott replied, you can order anything if you stay here. So, are you still going back to that home? The one you rent for $1,200 on the east side? I grabbed an abalone and chewed. It was so delicious that I wouldn't have noticed even if Scott died next to me. No. I guess not. Scott Hamilton, let's drop that I guess. Me, I'm not going back. I didn't know what he was up to. But I was taking this medicine. It tasted too good. Grandpa Chuck was satisfied. Scott Hamilton was also satisfied. I ate until I was full and felt extremely happy. At the Green family's house, they restricted my diet to maintain my figure so they could sell me off for a good price. When I was living alone, I couldn't afford much because I was short on cash. But the person I was is in the past. The present me is Lily, who can order custom meals. That evening, I immediately compiled a menu. The next day, I handed it to the butler. When I'm home, please prepare a different page for each meal. The butler nodded. Understood, madam. The word madam caught me off guard. Just call me Lily, or Lil is fine, too. The butler refused. The sir and the young master would prefer I call you madam. Me, okay. I was about to go upstairs when I looked up and bumped right into Scott coming down. He looked up at me. Already prepared the menu? Yep. He didn't show much emotion. I remembered the rumors about him being cold and ruthless. I was wondering if he was about to say something snarky. But then I heard him say, very strong execution. That's good. I let out a sigh of relief and looked up at him. I noticed he was wearing a sleek suit, looking incredibly attractive. Grandpa said you're taking a day off today. Do you wear a suit even on your day off? Scott gave me a cold stare. I don't know when your family will call, so I'm ready to go at a moment's notice. I scratched my head. You don't have to be that ready. Scott Hamilton, I have to. Me, okay, whatever makes you happy. In the following days, Scott indeed stayed ready at all times. A new outfit every day, never the same combination, with varying styles, each look more captivating than the last. Grandpa Chuck smiled meaningfully. It's mating season. I looked at Planet Earth on TV. It certainly looks like it. Scott kept strutting back and forth in front of me. I couldn't help but say, "Move, you're blocking the TV." He stopped and sat down next to me. Can I ask you a question? What is your relationship with the Monkey King? I was confused. What relationship could I possibly have with him? He shook his head. No, there is a relationship. I think you're the same type. Me? What nonsense is he talking about? Scott's voice was flat, but if you listened closely, you could hear a hint of resentment. He was a stone monkey, you're a stone person. You both popped out of a rock, so how are you not the same type? Seriously, is he crazy? Scott's closet was almost empty, so he arranged for the brand to send clothes over. I was shocked. His closet has so many clothes, how is it almost empty? Grandpa Chuck was calm. He's showing off, he just thinks he doesn't have enough skins. Don't worry about it. Me, oh. That afternoon, the clothes were delivered. Besides menswear, there were also many women's clothes. I was stunned. He needs women's skins too. Grandpa Chuck glared at me. Those are for you. I was dumbfounded. For me? You're going back to slap your family's faces, you have to wear something nice. But there's no need for this much. It's fine. It's pocket change. My eyes lit up. This medicine in the gourd tasted truly delicious. I love it. Give me more. The day after the clothes arrived, my dad's call came. Lil, family dinner tomorrow. Remember to come home. We have an important guest. Get back early so the makeup artist can do your makeup and choose your outfit. I didn't speak. He continued, I've raised you for so long, spent so much money, and put so much effort into you. Lil, it's time for you to repay the family. You know what happens if you don't listen. I hung up the phone. The chance to slap them is here, Grandpa Chuck said, rubbing his hands together. He called the butler. You go film it tomorrow. Make sure to get good shots. The butler extended his white-gloved hand. He made an okay sign. Grandpa Chuck patted my shoulder. Give them a hard slap. I also put my hand up. Okay. Scott came back from the company. Grandpa Chuck gave him all sorts of reminders and directions. Got all that? So Scott also put his hand up. Okay. Early the next morning, the stylist and makeup artist arrived. We tried on many outfits and chose a light blue dress that was very flattering. I walked out. Grandpa Chuck, gorgeous. Scott Hamilton, beautiful. Scott's expression was especially serious when he spoke. Grandpa Chuck said proudly, "Didn't I have good taste in choosing a granddaughter-in-law?" Scott Hamilton nodded. Good. Very good. Extremely good. Exceptionally good. Grandpa Chuck was beaming. Sweet talker, you. Scott smiled at me. The cold iceberg suddenly smiled like a spring breeze. I touched my little heart. Slow down, you jerk. All the makeup and styling was done at the Hamilton house. I didn't go back early as my dad requested. He called me. He was furious. I gave him some perfunctory excuses and told him I would be back before he calmed down. All preparations were finished. The butler drove Scott and me to the Green family's house. On the way, I got a call from Diana Green, my sister. Lily, Dad wants me to tell you to call a professional car service. Don't ride your broken scooter. The family can't afford to be embarrassed by you. Her tone was mocking, laced with schadenfreude. I calmly said, got it. Diana hung up. Scott asked me, why are you so calm? I sighed, I'm used to it. I'm just the Greens' adopted daughter. They only adopted me back then to create a charitable family image. My adoptive parents wanted to build a good image, but they disliked kids who weren't pretty or had disabilities. So they chose me. Pretty and healthy. When I grew up, I could be married off for resources. Their calculating plan was loud and clear. But fate is strange. I became close to Grandpa Chuck in the park and ended up marrying Scott Hamilton. We arrived at the Green family's house. I was about to step out. But the butler stopped me. He held a camera, his face serious. Madam, please wait a moment. I need to find a good angle. Me, all right. A few minutes later, the butler was half crouching in front of me in an awkward sprinter's pose. Madam, you can step out now. Young master, don't rush, stick to the script. Scott's mouth twitched. I rang the doorbell. Someone came quickly. Footsteps were accompanied by Diana's deliberately loud voice. Lily is here. She didn't listen to Dad and she's broke, so she must look trashy again. Letting that poor tramp into the house is just dirtying the floor. The door opened. Diana's face was full of disdain. Put your broken scooter. Her words were cut off. She looked stunned. Lily? It's me. I reached up and hooked a strand of my long hair. Sister, do I look good today? Diana's expression instantly became contorted. Her eyes were fixed on my gem necklace and long dress. How do you have this dress? That brand hasn't even released it yet. I pulled strings and couldn't get it. How did you get it? I smiled. I don't know either. It's so weird, isn't it? How is it that the dress you couldn't get, I'm already wearing? Diana's face was extremely ugly. But the butler was satisfied. Good. The expression is perfect. Diana, who are you? Are you crazy? The butler replied, I'm tonight's director. Ignore me. Please continue to be cruel. Diana, get lost. The butler smiled, raising his camera. No, I won't. Diana and I didn't go in for a long time, arguing at the door. The people inside all came out. Gary Green, the Green family's son, first noticed the luxury car at the entrance. He ran past us and gasped, my dream car. There's only one in the whole city. Why is it at my house? I smiled and replied, my sister said I couldn't embarrass the family, so I came in this car. Diana looked hateful. But soon, she started smiling again. You really went all out to marry Mr. Lewis, huh? You dressed up and made such a beautiful entrance. Are you that eager to attract a man's attention? As she finished speaking, a man appeared in front of me. He looked to be in his 40s or 50s, with thinning hair and a noticeable belly. The man's eyes landed on me. This must be Lil. Just as your father said, young and pretty. My dad walked up from the side, smiling ingratiatingly. If Mr. Lewis likes her, I'll have her move in with you in a few days. The man was about to nod. At that moment, the butler suddenly ran to the front of the car at the speed of a champion sprinter. The man froze. Then he saw Scott Hamilton step out of the car. Scott's expression was icy, old-timer. Cough, Mr. Green, I'm right here, and you're already trying to send my wife off to someone else. Do you think the Hamilton family is dead? My toes started curling up in my shoes. They were working hard. The Green family froze as if struck by lightning. Diana shrieked, Scott Hamilton. Lily. Wife. Scott was displeased. Why are you calling her wife? Lily is my wife. She reached out, her sharp manicure about to poke my head. Scott rushed over and smacked her hand away. Then he said, Butler, get me a wet wipe. My hand can only touch my wife. The butler pulled an alcohol wipe from his pocket. Scott took it and meticulously wiped every single one of his fingers. Diana looked utterly humiliated but stubbornly refused to back down. It has to be fake. How could you be Scott Hamilton? Lily, are you trying to avoid marrying Mr. Lewis by getting someone to impersonate Scott Hamilton for backup? Scott scoffed. Who would dare impersonate me? Gary chimed in from the side. Sis, I checked. That car is real. It's the Hamilton family's car. Then he looked at Scott ingratiatingly. Bro-in-law, can I drive your car sometime? Scott Hamilton, I listened to my wife. I smiled. No, you can't. Diana still didn't believe it. That's impossible. So Scott pulled out the marriage certificate. The few of them took it and crowded together to look. The butler circled them with his camera, meticulously recording their expressions. 1 minute later, my dad shoved the balding man aside. Lil, look at how you've handled this. You didn't tell the family you were dating and getting married. Son-in-law, everything today is a misunderstanding. Sending Lil away, it was never going to happen. Scott sneered. Are you saying I have a hearing problem? No, no, no. Lil, hurry up, don't stay at the door. Bring your son-in-law in to sit down. My dad's smile was fawning. Son-in-law, since you two are married and both our families are in business, why don't you come in and discuss a collaboration? Scott didn't move. Wife, should I go in and discuss a collaboration with him? My red lips parted slightly, and the corner of my mouth curved. Of course. In my dad's expectant gaze, I said the rest of the sentence. We're not going in. The faces of the people across from us were all different, each one uglier than the last. And on my side. Scott said dotingly, I'll do whatever you say. Butler, good. Perfect. Cut. The butler straightened up, returning to his usual demeanor. Young master, madam, it's time to go home. The sir is waiting for you for dinner. Tonight's after-dinner movie was edited by the butler. All I can say is, 6. It's only been this long, and the full feature film is already out. He really is $1 million butler. Totally all-purpose. I slowly made my entrance, accompanied by pumping background music. I couldn't help but curl my toes again. Grandpa Chuck, however, watched with total concentration. Great choice of music. That girl has a nasty mouth for someone so young. Lily, well done. Seriously, how dare that ugly guy fantasize about my granddaughter-in-law? I leaned close to Scott and whispered in his ear, is he usually like this? Scott smiled gently, leaning toward me. He wasn't before, but he's been watching too many short online dramas recently, and his brain has gone bad. His warm breath brushed my hair, and I felt a bit awkward, so I moved back to my seat. At the same time, I smoothed my hair to hide my red ears. The film was nearing its end. Grandpa Chuck slapped his thigh. That was satisfying. He came over and said to Scott, "You did great today. Allowance increase. 100,000 a month." Then he pulled out a card and slipped it into my hand. "You get one too. Spend freely. No limit." I quickly tried to decline. "This isn't right. You've already helped me so much." "Scott Hamilton, take it. It's pocket change." The butler also said, "It's not much." Scott helped me solve a huge problem. I decided to thank him in person. Before going to the study, I brought a cup of milk and a few small desserts. When I arrived, he was sitting in front of a Go board. These two, grandfather and grandson, both loved chess. I placed the items on the table. "Thank you for everything this past while. If I hadn't met Grandpa and you, they would have really sold me off." Scott looked up at me. "Don't thank me. It's a small thing. Actually, I should thank you. My parents died young, and I'm busy with work, so Grandpa hasn't had much company. He's been in a much better mood this year, and that's all thanks to you." I scratched my cheek. I didn't do much, just played chess with him in the park. "Speaking of chess, how about a game with me? This current game is a bit stuck. Grandpa said you're great at it. Want to give it a try?" he said. I looked down at the board, the black and white pieces scattered across it. When I looked closer, everything became a blurry mosaic. I said with difficulty, "I don't know how." "Then let's start a new game." I said even more awkwardly, I don't know how to play Go." "Then what do you know how to play?" "5 in a row." He was silent. "You played 5 in a row for a whole year in the park?" I nodded. He opened his mouth. I read his lips. Feeling awkward, I decided to leave. He called out to me, "5 in a row is fine, too." An hour later, Scott gritted his teeth, again. I smiled. "You'll still lose if we play again." We battled it out in the study all night. Finally, Scott looked at me pitifully. "Could you let me win just this once?" His looks were distracting. I silently chanted in my heart, "Lily, stay strong." Scott was still looking pathetic. I shamefully gave in. Seriously, I couldn't be firm at all. Scott said not to thank him. But I still insisted on bringing him milk before bed every day. The butler said Scott didn't like milk. I pretended I didn't hear it. The thought is what counts. Of course, I had my own little plan. The marriage was fake. But the friendship could be real. Being friends with a person like him had way too many advantages. I went up one day. I was about to knock. But Scott opened the door first. He had just showered, and his hair was half dry. But that wasn't important. What was important was that he was topless, showing off his great chest and 8-pack abs. And he was only wearing a pair of gray pants. I didn't know where to look. Grandpa Chuck suddenly appeared behind me. "TSK, TSK, TSK." Scott quickly pulled me inside. I struggled to look away. "It's getting cold. You should wear a shirt." "Scott, it's not cold." He kept walking around topless in front of me. "Came to thank me again?" I nodded. "If you really want to thank me, why don't you try a different way?" he said. "What way?" "Come work at my company. Help me make money." He moved closer. I could smell the fresh lemon scent of his shower gel. "I saw your resume. It's excellent." I was silent for a moment, then declined. "Can we try something else?" "Why?" I answered. I chose to study that major originally to prove my worth to the Greens. The fact is, no matter how well I did in school or at a company, they wouldn't notice. Now they don't dare to sell me off anymore, and I don't want to do that kind of work anymore. Scott asked me, "What do you want to do then?" I shook my head, I still don't know. He looked at me, his expression thoughtful. Time flies, and half a month passed quickly. One day, Scott took me to a place. I stood at the entrance, looking at everything in front of me. A bright, clean shop with vibrant flowers inside. Grandpa said you mentioned to him that you love flowers and wanted to open a flower shop. He pointed to the shop in front of us, his gaze gentle. I snapped out of my daze. You opened it for me? Scott shook his finger. Yes, but not entirely. I invested the money, and I take 5% of the monthly profits. So you're still making money for me. Lily, if you really want to thank me, be my agent. A sudden surge of joy rose in my heart. I couldn't help it and hugged Scott Hamilton. They were all lying when they said you were cold and heartless. You're too good. I'm going to clear your name. He froze. A few seconds later, I froze too. I was about to let go, but he pulled me back. It cost me a lot of my allowance. A few minutes of a hug isn't too much to ask, right? My head rested against the side of his neck. No, it's not. And just like that, I became Scott Hamilton's flower shop agent. The shop location was excellent. High foot traffic, and a college town not far away. Business was great. The downside of a good location is that you're likely to run into people you don't want to see. That day, I ran into one. Diana Green walked in and said haughtily, I want this, and that. I'm in a hurry. Finish them within half an hour. The employee said it couldn't be done. Diana was about to get angry. I walked out. Are you deaf? I said it can't be done. Lily, what are you doing here? She frowned, then seemed to realize something, and her brows smoothed out. I know. Scott Hamilton dumped you, and you're forced to work as a flower shop employee, aren't you? I smiled calmly. No. Scott was worried I'd be bored at home, so he gave me a flower shop. I called Scott. Diana is at the shop. She says you dumped me. No. Our relationship is great. Tell Diana to get lost. Scott was cold at first, then his voice softened. I'll come pick you up later. Me, okay. Diana's face was twisted again. Don't be so smug. Kate Lynn is coming back soon. When she does, you'll be nothing to Scott Hamilton. I felt a sudden suffocation. Kate Lynn. I knew about her. The rumored first love who made Scott swear off love. But my face remained unperturbed. I don't know about the future. I only know that I'm the smug one right now. Diana glared at me, spitting out a phrase. We'll see about that. Diana's revenge came quickly. It was a holiday the next day, so I had everyone leave early today, leaving me alone. Before leaving, I wanted to order a boba tea. Not long after drinking it, I felt a sudden hot flush throughout my body. I immediately realized someone had drugged the tea. Figures moved outside. I mustered my last bit of strength and called Scott Hamilton. He arrived very quickly. Driving full speed. By the time he arrived, I was already close to losing consciousness. Someone was trying to drag me out. Scott's men quickly knocked the people out with a few quick strikes. Then, he took me in his arms. Leave the rest to you. I was brought into the car. I pressed tightly against him. There's a hotel right next door. He stopped. Do you know what you're doing? I know, I said. The light on the ceiling kept swaying. I raised my hand to cover my eyes. Scott took my hand away. He was breathing heavily. Look at me. I gripped the sheets tightly. He coaxed me. It's okay. Top floor suite. The front desk said it's just us. I covered my mouth, and the sound escaped through my fingers. Scott chuckled softly. I felt like a small boat being tossed and turned by the waves. The little boat was about to fall apart. But the waves showed no sign of stopping. I woke up the next day, aching all over. I tried to lift my leg and hissed in pain. Scott woke up. Hurts? I bit my lip. He kissed me. I'll be gentler next time. I glared at him. Scott raised an eyebrow. You don't want a next time? Everything from last night flashed in my mind. I whispered, no. He smiled naughtily. No what? I was so annoyed I pushed his chest. Scott caught my hand. You seemed to enjoy it a lot last night. Want to touch again? Then he moved my hand lower and lower. I was furious and bit him. Scott laughed, his body trembling beneath my hand. Lily. Why are you calling me? You're so cute. The Green family's days were not good. The price of Scott's anger was absolute ruin. The Green family business was already struggling, and with Scott's intervention, they quickly went bankrupt and liquidated. My residency status was also moved out of the Green family. I had no relationship with the Greens anymore. Scott kept asking for rewards. First, he suggested we sleep together. After I agreed, he started seductively tempting me in every way. He hasn't been wearing much lately, and he loves to press my hand onto his chest. Last time you bit the left side. Bite the right side this time so it's symmetrical. Me, you're a pervert. Scott raised an eyebrow. Is that still considered a pervert? I can be even more perverse. When I didn't say anything, he leaned in and kissed me. Lips intertwined. My face was flushed. He said, I want to hear your voice. It sounds really nice. His hand slipped under my shirt, moving upward. I couldn't refuse. Our bodies were simply too compatible in that area. I simply couldn't refuse him. A while later, the Hamilton Group's annual dinner came around. Scott invited me to go. But I didn't want to. The annual dinner is all Hamilton employees. Why should I go? He refused, arguing with good reason. You're my flower shop agent. You're making money for me, too. I gave in. I went to the annual dinner after all. Coincidentally, I ran into a few old college classmates. I sat at their table. Lily, what are you doing here? I thought for a moment and replied, Mr. Hamilton has a small side business, and I'm working for him. My classmates suddenly realized, it must be nice to be rich. You can just set up a business whenever you want. Scott was giving a speech on the stage, shining brightly. I rested my chin on my hand, watching him. No wonder he insisted on having me come. He wanted me to see his highlight moment. Joyce, a classmate, patted my arm. Mr. Hamilton is looking at our table. Is he looking at us? I gave a strained laugh. Another classmate refuted, no way. Look over there. Who's that coming in? I followed her gaze. Joyce became even more excited. It's her. The rumored first love who made Mr. Hamilton stay single all these years. The woman walking over was clearly meticulously dressed. Her outfit was elegant, and her makeup was perfect. It's Caitlin. It really is her. I repeated, it's Caitlin. She was back. I was very depressed. The result of my depression was drinking a lot of wine. My brain turned into a mushy blur. Scott looked for me for a long time and finally found me in the stairwell. What's wrong? Why did you drink so much? And why are you hiding here? I wiped my eyes and whispered, I was afraid she would see me, and you'd have to take time to explain things. Scott reached out and hugged me. I can't hear you clearly. Let's go home first. I curled up in his arms. I didn't let go. When we got home, he carried me out of the car again. My head rested in the curve of his neck. Smelling his scent, I suddenly felt a wave of self-pity. Tears fell unconsciously. The tears soaked his clothes. Scott set me down and cradled my face. Why are you crying? Did someone bully you? I sobbed, she's back. So I have to leave. He was anxious. She? Who is she? I didn't speak, just cried silently. Scott's brows were tightly furrowed. No matter who it is, I'll tell her to get lost. No, you won't. You won't tell her to get lost. Scott knelt down, touching my forehead with his. Tell me, who is coming back? It's Caitlin. I watched his reaction, wondering if he would be happy, stunned, or if he would immediately abandon me to go find her. But Scott looked utterly confused. Who is Caitlin? I was even more confused. You don't know her? No. How is that possible? Everyone said Caitlin was your first love, that she dumped you to study abroad, and you swore off love for her, staying single until now. Grandpa even said that. What is wrong with these people, just talking nonsense? He gritted his teeth. Then he frantically explained, listen to me. I really don't know her. Lily, baby, wife, the one I've always liked is you. I blinked my watery eyes. Really? He held up 2 fingers and swore, really? If it's a lie, I swear I'll never be able to get it up again. Then say it a few more times. Say you like me. I like you. I like you. He said it many times. I stopped crying. He just breathed a sigh of relief. I gave the soft flesh on his side a hard pinch. Scott cried out in pain. I finally broke into a smile, wrapping my arms around his neck. That's great. It's not a dying delusion. Scott Hamilton, instead of pinching yourself, you pinch me? Me, got a problem with that? No, ma'am. He carried me back to the room. I sat on the bed and looked at him. I'm still mad. Then what will make you feel better? I thought about it. Take off your clothes. He took off his clothes, piece by piece. I first poked his chest. Then I poked his abs. Scott caught my wandering hand. I haven't showered yet. I raised my chin. Then go shower. He obediently went, trying to take me with him. I refused, of course. He took a military shower. I was already lying in bed. He was about to climb on top of me. But he realized I had already fallen asleep. He changed his action, pulling me into his arms. You little brat. So what if I'm a brat? He still likes me. I woke up the next day after breakfast time had passed. I got up to take a shower. When I finished, Scott woke up too. He looked sullen. Wife, I was so uncomfortable last night. I scoffed. Serves you right. Tell me, what was your relationship with Caitlin? He replied, I thought about it last night. I remembered that before my parents died in a plane crash, I lived somewhere else with them. Caitlin was my neighbor's daughter. I stroked my chin. You were childhood sweethearts? Scott explained, no. She was always the one chasing me. I never paid attention to her. His explanation made me even more confused. Then how did that rumor start later? He looked at me, his expression uncertain. You're part of the reason. I was surprised. How could that be? He took out his phone, scrolled up through our WhatsApp chat history, and handed the phone to me after reaching the very top. I took a look and saw that our earliest chat logs were from a few years ago. He added an explanation. In college, I tried to date you, but you rejected me and blocked me. I was heartbroken during that time, and my friends noticed. It just so happened that Caitlin went abroad, and somehow the rumor started that she was the ex who dumped me. But in reality, you were the one who rejected me. I scrolled through the history. I quickly recalled it. My sophomore year, someone added me. The note said he was an upperclassman, so I accepted. At first, it was just greetings. Later, he started sharing his daily life. I didn't know him and just thought he had no boundaries. But out of politeness, I would occasionally reply. I didn't expect him to confess later. I didn't reply at all, I just blocked him immediately. Why didn't you say it was you back then? I did. I looked again. There it was. You sent too many greeting stickers and they pushed the message up. I didn't see it. Scott Hamilton whines. Me, so that's why you agreed to Grandpa's request that day? He nodded. You know how I am. I've always been chaste. The first time I ever pursued someone, I got rejected. You left too deep an impression on me. When you appeared in front of me that day, I realized I couldn't forget you at all. My body and my heart were screaming that I still liked you. I scoffed. If I left such a deep impression, and you liked me so much, I never saw you try again. That's because of my ego. My ego wouldn't allow me to try again, he said. I raised an eyebrow. And why does it allow you now? He smiled ingratiatingly. After a few years, I matured. My ego matured too. My forehead twitched. Scott moved closer. Don't twitch your forehead. He took off his shirt, grabbed my fingers, and ran them over his body. Twitch here. Spank me with a little riding crop. Scott Hamilton, do you have to be such a pervert? Only for you. It turns out he really is a pervert. He even licks people like a little puppy. The misunderstanding was cleared. Scott and I's relationship grew even stronger. Grandpa smiled happily every day. The butler was beaming with pride every day. A month later, our wedding was scheduled. A wedding of the century, known throughout the city. Scott was telling everyone he loved me. After the wedding, we went on our honeymoon. By the beach, we walked hand in hand on the sand. Scott, do you know what I used to fantasize about the most? What? He asked me. Sometimes, I fantasized that I could turn into a bird so I could fly out of that house and gain freedom. Sometimes, I fantasized about winning the lottery and getting a huge sum of money, because money solves a lot of problems. I fantasized about many, many things, but I don't fantasize anymore. He looked at me, his gaze very gentle. Why? I turned and wrapped my arms around him, because I already won the biggest lottery of all. He lowered his head and kissed my lips. I love you. I smiled and responded, me too. Extra, Scott's perspective. My advisor recently kept bringing up a girl. Her name was Lily Green, a lower classman of mine. The advisor always praised her for being smart, hardworking, having good grades, and being very pretty. At first, I didn't pay attention. Later, my roommates started talking about Lily, too. Saying how beautiful she was, and how nice her personality was. I was puzzled. How beautiful could she be? Why talk about her so much? My roommate said, don't believe me? Go take a look. She should be in the library at this time. I thought about it and agreed. On the way, my roommate suggested, if you don't think she's pretty when you see her, I'll buy you dinner. If you do, you buy me dinner. Me, no problem. We didn't find Lily in the library. We searched around. We found her in a quiet corner behind the library. She was feeding a cat. Her profile was tranquil and gentle. Lily squatted down, watching the cat eat. The sunlight shone on her through the gaps in the leaves. She looked like she was glowing. My roommate patted my arm. Pretty? I was about to speak. But I saw Lily secretly look around, then pick up the cat and make a weird noise. My little fluff ball, you're so cute. Let big sister pet you. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. That day, I bought my roommate dinner. After that, I kept seeing her on campus. I saw her hurrying by with books in her arms. I saw her feeding cats in many places around the school. She kept popping up in my mind. I asked a friend, I have a friend who seems to have a crush on a girl. What should he do? My friend smirked. Scott, you're asking a question like that? If he likes her, he should go for it. So I went for it. I added her on WhatsApp. After introducing myself, I sent many greeting stickers. Some with cats, some with dogs. Lily replied, hello. Later, I started sharing a lot. Lily didn't reply often. She'd reply once every 2 or 3 days. Her indifference made me feel frustrated. My friends were dating. They were giving off pink bubbles, and I felt even more depressed. I drank a lot of wine. My mind was cloudy, and I said, she won't talk to me. What should I do? My friend replied, just confess. Scott, with your looks, she can't possibly say no. Alcohol got to my head, and I really did confess. That day, I stared at the chat box all night. No message. 10 hours later, I tentatively sent a message. There was a message. A red exclamation mark. For all those years, I had always been the one being chased. This was the first time I chased someone and failed. My friends encouraged me to try again. But how could I possibly try again? My ego said it wouldn't allow it. But Lily's figure still appeared in my mind from time to time. Later, I graduated. I became busy. Lily's image faded, and I thought I had finally forgotten her. But the truth is, I hadn't. Grandpa said he had a chess friend who was very interesting. After playing chess with his friend for a year, Grandpa brought the person over. He said he wanted to introduce her to me as my wife. How could that be? The chess friend walked out. It was Lily. The moment I saw her, every cell in my body was screaming, "Say yes to Grandpa." I'm a man who follows his gut. In Lily's stunned gaze, I agreed to Grandpa's request. Humph. She came back to me, in the end. Lily suggested we could get a fake certificate to appease Grandpa. No way. I'm not breaking the law. After much effort, she finally agreed to get the license. I'm so smart. Lily must be made of stone. I tried everything, and she wouldn't even look at me. But it's okay. I'll try harder. If she's not looking at me, it must mean I'm not working hard enough. The Greens are terrible people. The thought of her growing up in that house made my heart ache for her. At the Greens' house, I called Lily my wife. It was the first time I called her my wife. But Lily didn't call me her husband. Disappointment. Returning from the Greens' house, Lily suddenly leaned close to me to ask a question. I leaned close to her, too. Her ears turned red. Lily is great at 5 in a row. I like her even more. I gave her a flower shop. She was so happy she hugged me tightly. But soon, she wanted to let go. Not a chance. She has to hug me for at least 5 minutes. Not enough. Make it 10 minutes. Still not enough. A little longer would be nice. Lily was drugged. She said we could go to the hotel. I was calm on the outside, but thrilled on the inside. Her voice was beautiful. I liked it very much. Lily cried and misunderstood me. I was very anxious. But it was a false alarm. I watched her fall asleep in my arms. Lily. She's mine. Hee hee. The wedding is set. She said, I do. I am the happiest man in the world. Lily called me a pervert again. Her expression when she calls me that is so beautiful, and her voice is so nice. She's so cute. I'm crazy about her.